Hi guys, my name is Elsie.
My name is JT.
And welcome to the F1 Debate Show. Now in this episode we're going to be talking about all the news and headlines from the paddock in the transition between the Spanish Grand Prix and the Monaco Grand Prix, which is the race this weekend, the sort of race in the Principality that everyone wants to win. So let's kick off with the news that I'm sure a lot of people will have known. The two-day in-season testing at the Circuit de Catalunya after the Spanish Grand Prix. Now that kicked off on Tuesday on the following week and was on for 2 days. And let's start off with day one. This is the real test for the teams to enhance everything. Also, it's not a young drivers test, but obviously a lot of teams have put in drivers, either third drivers or drivers that they want to test out that might stand in FP1 and FP2 and even FP3 sessions in the rest of the 2016 season. So Sebastian Vettel was the fastest in the Ferrari. He did 103 laps, and his fastest time around the circuit was a 1:23.2. And obviously Ferrari, really working on what they had in Spain. They were on top, but they were sliding back. And obviously it's Ferrari. They're not in the position that they want to be at the moment. Nico Rosberg came second with 119 laps with a 1:23.3. And this is the first time he even made it around the track, if you like, because obviously, as you know, he never even made one full lap on Sunday. Jenson Button, surprisingly enough, came in third place. He only did 86 laps, and he did a 1:23.7. Now that's JB, that's the McLaren man. That's the team that had an abysmal 2015. So it definitely shows that they're growing. Romain Grosjean with Haas came in fourth place, a team that we're going to discuss later on in the video in terms of how they're doing. Pascal Wehrlein for Manor, Daniel Ricciardo for Red Bull, and then here it comes to some of the test drivers that have stood in for the teams. So the works team for for the Ferrari engine and Red Bull is Toro Rosso, and they used a driver called Pierre Gasly. Now he came in 7th position with a 1:24.8, which was 1.6 seconds off the pace of the 4-time world champion, which is very good for a young driver. Force India had a driver called Alfonso Celis, which we've seen stand in a few of the FP, I think the Friday, I don't know if it's FP1 or FP2, but definitely the Friday sessions for Force India, in the last few races. Alex Lynn, the British junior Formula driver, was a driver for Williams, again another British team, and Esteban Ocon is a Renault driver. He was in last position with a time of 1:26.5. So very much improvement from that. And it's good to see a lot of young and third drivers on the grid. And JT will discuss day two.
Yes, and that was day one, and then you come on obviously onto day two, the second day of the 2-day test, and it was topped by the Spanish Grand Prix race winner Max Verstappen. His time was 1:23.267. He did 180 laps, very very reliable. It didn't have any major problems, I would say. In second place, again, as Elsie said, very surprising from the McLaren. It was Stoffel Van Dorn, obviously raced in Bahrain, scored their first point of the season at the point up until up until Russia was their only points. And as those two drivers didn't score, they got Stoffel got a 1:24.006. 7/10 away from Max Verstappen. He did 108 laps on that. I don't think he had any problems, I wouldn't have thought. Pascal Wehrlein, obviously a very controversial decision by Mercedes to drop Hamilton to get Wehrlein in for Mercedes for them to run in the second test. He did a 1:24.145. He did 133 laps, which was the most out of all the teams running on that day, and that's very promising. Obviously, I don't think Mercedes were going at full pelt. I think Wehrlein was obviously just getting data, learning about the car. Mercedes were learning about him as well. Fourth place, it's just like Romain Grosjean was Esteban Gutierrez with Haas, 1:24.592 with 105 laps. Standing driver for Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel drove in day one, as Elsie said. Day two, Kimi Räikkönen didn't test. It was Antonio Fuoco, shall I say? Tell us if I haven't pronounced his name right. He got a 1:24.72 with 180 laps. Danny Kvyat, Toro Rosso, former Red Bull, let's mention that. 1:24.7. A lot of 1:24s in this test, by the way. This should be called the 1:24 test, let's say. With a 1:24.737 with 116 laps. Alfonso Celis, Force India again on day two with the 1:25, so out the 1:24s, 1:25.016 with 103 laps. Kevin Magnussen for the Renault in 8th place with a 1:25.133, 122 laps. Felipe Massa for the Williams. Now, I'm going to mention a little bit about Williams because of the test, because I don't know if anyone had seen, but they ran a very radical rear wing, kind of like a double rear wing. You could say it was very, aerodynamic. It was very futuristic. It was actually, it wasn't futuristic, because I believe another team back in the late 80s tested a very similar sort of thing, where it was like a rear wing, but then it was like a little add-on, just push forward, kind of like you could say it looks like what the DRS would look like if it was open. It had like a bit of a gap to allow wind through, and that obviously get rid of downforce and stuff like that. So they ran that. So I believe that's something for the 2017. So that could be a little bit of what 2017, 2018's rear wings would look like. So who knows? It didn't do any justice. He only got a 127.167, 94 laps. In last place, Jordan King with the Manor, 127.6, and he only did 91 laps. So yeah, those drivers who you probably don't really familiarise with Silver, like Alfonso Celis, Jordan King, Fuoco for Ferrari, they'll be the ones for the future. I remember watching like Kevin Magnussen in tests like that in 2012, 2013, and he was on the grid before So if you heard these names here second, because obviously you would have heard them at the test. Yeah. so yeah. I would have said first, but the test has already happened. So
watch this space, and don't worry, we'll be making videos on who we think will eventually reach Formula One.
Yes.
Don't forget, guys, that in Abu Dhabi 2015, the young drivers test was topped by Stoffel Van Dorn. That was doubly impressive because obviously Stoffel Van Dorn had just. That was his first testing season, and he still wasn't a Formula One driver. And also, Jensen and Fernando couldn't do that with their abysmal McLaren car. So these names in testing, especially the ones who didn't come last, are definitely showing promise, like Stoffel did then. But obviously, let's see how they get on. Anyway, so let's get on to obviously moving from the test. We're all heading into the Monaco Grand Prix weekend. Obviously, the Thursday practice starts tomorrow. Also plays catch our Monaco Grand Prix preview, and then obviously Saturday qualifying and Sunday race. We are heading in at the moment with the Drivers' Championship standing with Nico Rosberg at 100 points. Remember, he's had 4 wins in 4 races. We've had 5, but obviously he crashed out. He probably would have won Spain, but we'll keep that for another time. So he stands at 100 points at the moment. His win of 7 consecutive wins still stands. He was going for 8 in Spain, remember, and well, that's not happening anymore. He would have been going for 9 if everything had gone to plan this weekend, but obviously he isn't. But one record he is going for is 4 in a row. Obviously 2013, 2014 and 2015 was his 3 wins in Monaco. If he wins this time, well, that's going to be amazing. Another record for him to go for, isn't it, JC?
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously there's records there to be broken in Formula 1, and obviously you can't have the same guy standing in all the records. So, get them while he can. Obviously he failed at one attempt. Let's try again. There's plenty more races to do that. So, he'll be going for that, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great. Next, second place in the Drivers' Championship, as it stands, is Kimi Räikkönen, 39 points behind the leader in 61 points. He's in the best position of his comeback, and probably one of the best positions of his whole career. Obviously, 2007, his championship winning year, he was definitely better. But he's fantastic, Kimi Räikkönen. Someone we could watch on Sunday. Third place in 57 points is Lewis Hamilton. Fourth, tied with Daniel Ricciardo. So fourth and fifth, both on 48 points, are Sebastian Vettel of Ferrari and Daniel Ricciardo of Red Bull. Sixth place is Max Verstappen, 10 points behind. Seventh is Felipe Massa in 36 points. Valtteri Bottas is in 8th with 29. Daniel Kvyat is in with 22 points in 9th place, and 10th place is Romain Grosjean in the Haas. Now let's move on to let's start with Haas, JT, just as I mentioned them. Now Romain Grosjean scored Haas's only 3 times in the points, obviously in Australia, Bahrain and Russia. Esteban, unfortunately, had 2 retirements and hasn't scored any points, but they had an amazing start. They had the American dream, as Roman said, in Australia and Bahrain. So what do you think they can bring to this weekend, and also just moving forward? Because we built them up so much. Obviously, as you remember, as you'll know, Roman won Driver of the Day award in Australia. So What can they do this weekend?
Hopefully a better performance. In the last race, they did all right. They scored some points eventually. Obviously, the first two races were absolutely incredible for a novice team, you could say. And then it just went a bit blank really after that. Bad performances, bad runs, didn't really score any points. It's more Esteban Gutierrez that you probably point the finger at than Romain Grosjean, because Romain Grosjean has done a very superb job so far. Esteban Gutierrez is still, he needs to deliver more and give Haas a better chance of scoring some points. And if Gutierrez's performance had been better, I think Haas would be in a very, very better position than what they are now. In terms of moving forward, I believe that the team will do better in the coming weeks. Obviously, they're still learning. This is still a learning curve. So even if they get the season off to end the season in a bad way, it's still not. No one's really going to criticise them because they start like a house on fire at the start. And obviously they've always got next season as well, to improve as well, and obviously testing and stuff like that. So in season testing as well. So plenty of time to improve the car. So if you're a Haas fan, if you're American, and you do like Haas, I wouldn't worry too much. I've got full confidence in that team to do well and score some points, get some decent results as well. The first attempt in Monaco, that'll be interesting to see what Romain Grosjean does, especially after his absolutely disastrous weekend of 2013. If you remember, where he crashed 4 times throughout the entire weekend, costing Renault a very, very... Sorry, it wasn't Renault at the time, it was Lotus, sorry. Yes. Lotus, now Renault, I should say. Costing them probably a very sky-high bill when they go back to Enstone following that race. So let's hope he doesn't do the same for Haas when they go back to their headquarters in Spain. But... yeah, as I said, I've got full confidence in that team to do well. I'm expecting a good performance this weekend. I'm low end points, maybe no more than 7th. I would say 7th, 8th. I'm expecting again, like they were in Spain, around that mark. But
yeah, the big cheese that have said that they would like both drivers in the points. Obviously, Esteban for his first point, and obviously a double point, as I say, for Haas, which would be fantastic. Roman is. I mean, I know he had obviously there's crashes and he was being called the crash kid and this and that and the other, but I do like him. I think he's a strong driver, and this could be his weekend. Obviously, as Esteban's as well. You definitely, JT, have an interest in how Haas do this season, don't you?
I do. But, well, I want them to win like the rest of the races. Really, if I'm going to win some very big money.
Yes.
But yeah, as I've said many times, I've got £3 bet on for Haas to win the constructors, and I'm currently losing. That's
where I'm having off, or you'll put some in there for the video. But that'll be great to see.
I want to buy a Haas shirt just to like get some good luck going.
Haas shirt.
Let's try that.
Well, actually, just on the topic of that, obviously, because a lot of people will want to buy things from that, there isn't much Haas gear on the F1 store to buy.
No,
also, as well, just while we're on that topic, and I know JT is where he's said this over and over and over and over and over again, that because of Max Verstappen's win, he hasn't been at Red Bull beforehand, and obviously now that he's won, and normally they do release like Champions stuff to buy, there hasn't been any Max Verstappen Red Bull stuff on sale, has there?
No, there hasn't. I mean, if you go in the F1 store now, you would see Max Verstappen's name under Red Bull, but the only thing you can get, I think it's a cap and just a separate random T-shirt or something from Toro Rosso. So I believe that they will make some merchandise. I would have thought that they would took all Danny Kvyat stock off sale, as of Toro Rosso have with Max Verstappen, and they'll probably just do it again. Get some Max Verstappen gear in, which would be amazing to see. I'll be getting myself a Max Verstappen cap all ready for Silverstone as well. So hopefully they're in time for Silverstone. If not, I might as well buy one there, which will cost probably like £1,000 or something like that. Because prices there are absolutely extortionate. So
it's ridiculous. It would be good. The company that I bought this cap off, the number 3, they don't have the 26 cap on sale anymore. The Daniel Kvyat. But obviously they don't have 33 on. Do you want to know a fun fact, JT? Why Red Bull actually got rid of Daniel Kvyat? I don't want to keep saying Ricciardo. Daniel Kvyat and signed Max Verstappen. It's strictly from a number point of view. It's because when they were there, they had to invest in 3s, 2s, and 6s. Here, they just have to invest in 3s. 3 and 33. That's our little
Oh,
that's our little fun fact of the day.
there we go.
Force India's Nico Hulkenberg, who's had a bit of a tricky start to the season, has been saying that after his retirement in Spain and after the unreliability of the car, he's been saying that the predecessors, that the rivals, obviously like Sauber, Toro Rosso, and other teams. I mean, obviously in their eyes it'll be the big teams at the front, but looking at around Sauber, Toro Rosso, Renault, even Manor and Haas. That Force India are being swallowed whole, and this isn't going to be a progressive year that they wanted it to be. Obviously, Nico said that he definitely wants to move forward, and if anything, he wants to get to Ferrari. We all know that's where Nico's main goal is, and well, he's not getting that way at the moment. He says that obviously, he wants to obviously do well this season, and so does obviously Checo, his teammate, and the reliability of the Force India, which I mean I didn't think was too bad at the moment, but obviously I think Spain definitely kind of sends shivers down the back of his spine, Cheto's spine, Force India's spine, and just everyone else worrying, and Vijay Mallya. So do you think this will continue, JT? Do you think Force India will keep having reliability wars and?
I hope not. You know what I mean? Because they are a very they're a good team. They're the team that have progressed ever since they started. They seem to be making progress every single year, and they seem to start off in testing like a house on fire, and then just sort of just disappear. They seem to lose that potential, which is really really frustrating to see. But you know, as I said at the start of the season, I had big expectations for not Renault, sorry, Force India, because the car was just so quick, it was so reliable. Then it comes into the races and they just haven't had any luck, and it's like, oh come on guys, seriously, you know this is your time to be. If anything, for the next team to how obviously Red Bull were a midfield team, then they jumped up to be multiple constructors winners. Same as like when Mercedes, when they started, they were in the midfield. Then regulations changed. Then they jump up to be multiple constructors. Force India for me would be the next team to do that, to be a midfield team. Out of all the midfield teams, Force India for me would be the next team to do that.
Yeah.
And at this present time, I think Vijay Mallya is going to be like, we're spending all this money, we've got all this money, we'll put it in a package, and it just isn't working. So whether he'll change sponsorship, whether he'll change his drivers, I believe he'll change his drivers after this season should nothing improve. Which would be a shame to see, because I love Hulkenberg and I love Perez. They had so much potential when they were younger, and now really everything. I think Hulkenberg's not going to get a driver at a big team, unfortunately, because you've got all the young guns coming through now. We're in that period of Formula One where we've got loads of young drivers in the ranks in Formula One, likes of Verlaine, likes of Verstappen, Carlos Sainz Jr. You know what I mean? Whereas earlier we never really seen anybody like that. We're just seeing them in the lower ranks, very young, and as I said, I can't see Hulkenberg jumping anywhere. Perez had his chance, he failed. He got demoted back to the midfield of the grid after very impressive with Sauber in 2012. He has the potential. Whether you get a driver with the top team, I really don't know, unless he's with Force India and they do somehow do well, which I believe, I hope they do. But only time will tell. Maybe the regulations next season. That's what Force India will look forward to. Because Vijay Mallya said that that the 2016 car looks very similar, when really it isn't. But in terms of aerodynamics, they're actually focusing on 2017, not 2016. So maybe 2017 could be their year, to do well, to get some wins under their belt, which I would be very keen to see. I think they've only won once, haven't they? I think it was Belgium 09 they won, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh no, it wasn't Belgium 09. Oh no, sorry, they haven't even won, man. They got on the podium at that stage. So I think the win will come eventually for them in the future. Maybe next year.
15th for Nico Hulkenberg in the drivers' championship at the moment with 6 points, and 13th for Sergio Perez, separated by Kevin Magnussen of Renault. And we're going to move on to them, the team that we're going to discuss now. They have a new engine block, like their upgrades that are being brought for this year. That they have a B-spec power unit that's been said by the Renault, the people in said that it's going to be introduced in Monaco, and also they're going to have upgrades coming basically through the entire year, obviously wanting to do better than they did for the start of the season. Their successful tests in Spain definitely helped the team. Now Renault, obviously with their drive, Kevin Magnussen, I've really watched him. He's definitely a driver. Obviously he's doing well at McLaren, very very well. I'd even say he was up there battling JB.
Yes.
And obviously, I mean, a year that he had to leave. I am glad that they've kept JB on. You know, at the end of 14, I was going to call you JB there, JT.
You can if you want.
Yeah, JT's in Formula One, JB's with me on the F1 Debate Show. When they were deciding to keep Magnussen on or Button on, they did choose Button, which is understandable. But Magnussen is someone that I'm definitely watching. But his teammate Julian Palmer, you know, are you really? What's he going to bring to Monaco, and how do you think his season is progressing? Do you think it's going anywhere the direction that he wanted it to?
Definitely not in terms of the progression where you want it to go. Obviously, GP2 champion in 2014. Obviously, a year dominated by Brit in the first three ranks of motorsport. You know what I mean? Like GP3 was Alex Lynn, GP2 was Julian Palmer, and obviously Formula One was Lewis Hamilton. And at this point, I was thinking, right, Julian Palmer is going to be the next, you know, Jenson Button, Lewis Hamilton, the next big Brit that we're going to see come through the ranks. And when they announced Renault, they're going to get Julian Palmer, and I was like, yes, you know, I've been watching this guy for like a good 2 to 3 years, proper looking on him. I was like, right, come on. I've seen him in when he's doing Sky F1. He's great. Honestly, he is a really good pundit, by the way. So should his F1 career come to an end in the short term, I would definitely you know, recommend him to take up punditry. But obviously now he's in Formula One, and I think he's under massive pressure right now. You know, he hasn't even done well. He hasn't even scored any points.
No.
The best he's got is 11th, and that was on his debut race in Australia. And ever since then, he hasn't really. He's finished unlucky 13th in the past 2 races in Spain and Russia and Spain. And has been rumours. Pretty much when the Verstappen Danny Kvyat rumour on confirmation was going around at that point, shortly afterwards, there was, like, you know, little rumours here and there that Renault were going to drop Julian Palmer because of his performances. And I'm going, you know what, that could be a possibility. Not because Julian Palmer's a bad driver, it's just, you know, that everyone expects him to be scoring points, doing well, and he's not. And he's got so much talent in him, and it's like, oh God, is this another Will Stevens, like Anthony Davidson? You know, someone who was expected to do well and then kind of failed and, you know, drift away from Formula One, which I certainly hope he doesn't. But at this point, it's looking unlikely that he's going to be in next season. And you know, I'm really, really nervous about this kid's future. And you know, I was just looking at his records and like his Formula Palmer Aldi, which was a series that he did with his dad. He won a T-Cars Autumn Trophy with Palmer Sport Junior in 2006. He came obviously first, GP2 champion in 2014, test driver with Force India, then a little bit with the Lotus Formula 1 team in 2015. So, you know, he's got that experience there. He's got that determination. He's got that winning frame of mind. And it's just not delivering on the track. And then obviously the bosses of Renault, obviously under massive pressure right now because of financial trouble and everything, they've had to come back in to make their own team, and they're not doing as well in Formula One. Ever since the V6 turbo era came back, they haven't been the same. And obviously the car's not delivering, which is putting Julian Palmer under a bit of pressure. But one of the fans of the F1 Debate Show, a guy called Bob Penny. Bob, if you're watching, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for commenting as well, your opinion. LC put a picture of his predictions on our Facebook page, which if you haven't already seen, go over and check them. Obviously, have a little conversation with them. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Let us know on our Facebook page at F1 Debate Show. And he basically said, you watch Palmer, keep an eye on him. And that obviously that just proves it, you know, right? Yes, he is doing bad. Yes, he is doing terrible. But, you know, come on, like, he's British. Let's give him the support. And he said Spain and Melbourne showed that he has promised. Just needs that Renault to pick up the pace, which it does, if I'm honest with you. And I mentioned it to him about, you know, that ever since they came back in the V6 turbo era, that they haven't done well, which it showed with with Red Bull, and now it's shown with their own team. And he made a very good point. He said yes, but who orchestrated the V6 turbo? It was Renault back in the 80s, so I wouldn't lose faith yet. And he is correct. You know, I did forget about that. I did, you know, forget that Renault was the key personality in bringing V6 turbos into Formula One, obviously in the 80s, and now they've came back. They haven't really, you know, kicked on to what they would have liked. So I would expect some better performances in the future. But as things stand, you know, the Palmer needs to deliver ASAP. If you can do well this weekend at a track like Monaco and maybe Canada, then he should be all right for the time being. But I just hope that he doesn't get demoted, which I would probably suggest if he keeps the results he is now, then I think that it will set him back, and they will probably put Esteban Ocon in, who has done some testing, and he is a one for the future. So if anything, I would say he would replace Jolyon Palmer should he get dropped this season.
Yeah. As we hope not. He is definitely a strong driver to watch, and someone who obviously we really enjoy having in Formula One at the moment. And the next thing I want to move on to, obviously we know the race winner Max Verstappen. He has been in saying that the motivation that he gets from like the surroundings, obviously being with Daniel Ricciardo, such an experienced teammate, and obviously his win. Working with Adrian Newey and Christian Horner and people like that at the Red Bull factory. Do you think, obviously he's only 18, remember, he's like us, or younger than us. Sorry to rub that in again. But do you think this is all going to go to his head? Do you think, because obviously we're getting up to going into Monaco, do you think that this might, like all this kind of pressure, either positive or negative, might get to him and then obviously hinder how he's doing in the race?
I wouldn't have thought so. Reason being was because of his dad, Jos Verstappen, who I said at this pretty much when we first started this channel and everything. I said that Max Verstappen would have been brought up with that old classic, fight hard for racing. You know what I mean, on that racetrack. If you want to show anything, show it on the racetrack. Don't show it off the racetrack. Be professional. And also when it comes to interviews, he's very professional. So I would think when it comes to situations like this, where he's just won a race, he's in the zone. Now what he'll do is like, right, that's happened. This is a brand new weekend, brand new moment. Let's get down to business. Let's see how I can do here. And he should take it one race at a time. Don't just like, oh god, Monaco next, Monaco in a couple of weeks, or British Grand Prix in a couple of weeks, and stuff like that, and getting 2 steps ahead of himself, which then could cause problems, like what most drivers have done in the past, and obviously hasn't shown their true potential. So if Jos can keep Max Verstappen's feet firmly on the ground, then I believe that he'll do a superb job this season in Formula One, and also definitely in the future, which is tipped to win multiple world championships. And I believe that he is going to have a very good result coming into this weekend. As both me and Elsie have predicted on our predictions that we think that he'll finish third. I've got Rosberg to win the race. Elsie's got Seb to win the race. So that'll be very interesting to see how that pans out. And obviously we've already mentioned a little bit about this a lot about this, shall I say, in the Monaco Grand Prix preview. Excuse me. And obviously, if you haven't already seen that, go and check that out as well. And we've discussed loads more about that. But I believe this could be a very key weekend, a very positive weekend to see what other teams think of Max Verstappen. Let's see, right? He's won a race. Let's see now how he responds to that. Is he going to respond in a professional manner, or is he going to perform in a very negative, very old school party boy manner, where he's just going to be like, oh, I'm going to race, I'm invincible, and crashes into one of the corners, which is very unlikely at Zandvoort or something like that. You know what I mean? So like he did last time, season at Zandvoort.
It's a shame. The 2016 tyre compounds have been allocated by Pirelli. As you'll know, the Ultrasoft tyre is in Monaco, along with the Supersoft and the soft tyres. We'll mention the allocations in tomorrow's preview show, but I'll get about the races, the other races at Canada, the European Grand Prix, Austria and Hungary have been released. The Ultrasoft tyre, the Supersoft tyre and the soft tyre is at Canada. We are absent from the Ultrasoft at the new street circuit in Baku, which is very surprising, obviously, because Monaco is a street circuit, and Canada's, well, it's like a city circuit as it's classed. So as I say, the European Grand Prix in Baku brings the Supersoft, the soft, and the medium. The Austrian Grand Prix brings the Ultrasoft tyre back, the Supersoft, and the soft, and they are the same 3 compounds for the Hungarian Grand Prix: Supersoft, the soft, and the medium compound tyre. Obviously, it'd be great to see the Supersoft, won't it, JT, in Monaco? I mean, a tyre that nobody's ever used, and it'll be fun. It'll be great to see how the teams kind of balance it, and obviously from a spectator's point of view, it's just something else to look at in this amazing race with so much, amazement to catch your eye, isn't it? It
is definitely. Obviously, we all like to see something new into Formula One. So yeah, as I said, obviously this weekend the introduction of the brand new ultra soft tire, purple mark tire. Teams have chosen 9, 10 sets, which LC mentions who chooses what. So go and check that out when that comes out. On our previous show, we go more in depth of of our opinions of the tire, what we think of it, how it's going to affect it, and everything. But as for now, I can't wait. I'm really excited to see this brand new tire. I love seeing new things introduced into Formula One, especially little things like this, and stuff like that. So, it will be very interesting to see how it tends to be different from the super soft tires. But it could be an absolute failure. You know what I mean? It could be. Teams might test the super soft tires, then they might test the ultra soft tires, and they might go, well, we're better off running the super soft tires because we're getting literally no gain from the ultra soft tires, which we have seen some of the harder compound tires perform better than the softer tires, which can happen at some tracks. So we'll just see how that goes. It might do well at some circuits, it might do worse at other circuits. But I think if it does bad this weekend, I think people are going to start, criticizing like what Formula fans like to do. Just like, oh, come on, what's going on, guys, and stuff like that. But and as like we said, we can't mention Monaco without obviously the late Jules Bianchi. After what he did, obviously superbly. And a little blast from the past came to my mind because, as you've already seen, if you haven't already, go and check it out on our Facebook page. I put this little 8 second video. I was watching the 2010 season review. And this is the first one I ever owned, and I've watched it many a time, right? And I'm lying there and I'm watching it, and Sid Watkins is talking about Mark Webber's crash, which happened in the race before at Valencia. So he's sitting there, he's talking away, and a guy walks past, and I'm sitting there going, I was like, whoa, who was that? So I rewound back, watched it, and I'm like, that's Jules Bianchi. Never ever noticed that, and I was like, whoa. I was like, obviously people would be thinking like, right, yeah, Jules Bianchi, so what? It's like, yeah, but so what? But I'm like, but he's there, like, nobody knows what was going to happen to him in the next 3 to 4 years. I'm like, oh my god, it's just things like that get to me. And it's like, wow, it's like, whoa, it's just a weird thing. So go and check that out if you do want to see it. If you do have that DVD, 2017 review, skip to Silverstone, watch the interview, and pretty much at the start, and you'll see him go past. Then again, you'll see him in the garage. At Ferrari, and just think, Elsie, we were at the 2010 British Grand Prix, if you remember. And we were at the first corner, so we were like, that far away from Jules.
JC, Jules Bianchi had his first GP3. I'm not sure if it was first, but he had his GP3 victory at Silverstone, and that's what he'll have been in. Obviously, he'll have been a GP3 driver at that time.
Oh,
he
was,
Ferrari.
But I think that was in 2011. He won his first one. I think I don't think it was 2010. 2011 because he was in a Lotus. Like a Lotus style green livery. But in that video, it was in like a white and red overalls, which I think it was with like a lower ranked team. So I don't think we were there the same weekend he won, but he obviously he would have raced, and we did stop to see some younger formulas. So that obviously that would have been strange to see that we would have seen a driver who would show some promise, especially at a race this weekend like Monaco, to unfortunately end his career in such bad circumstances. So little things like that get to me. Obviously, you guys might think, oh, come on, JT, you're weird like that. But I mean, that's me. That is me. Obviously, somebody's already commented, going, so it's Jules Bianchi. Come on.
Anyway, guys, that'll be the end of the F1 debate show. So thank you very much for watching this episode. Please catch tomorrow when we release the 2016 Monaco Grand Prix preview. On Friday, it's F1 Decoded episode 6, which is the Austrian driver Niki Lauda and the British driver James Hunt. There, the most documented rivalry in Formula 1. And obviously, the 2013 film Rush was based off their rivalry. And then on Sunday, obviously, we have the Monaco Grand Prix review show coming at you, so please catch that. Also,
which might be a little bit of a twist. Might be. Stay tuned to find out what that could be. By the way, guys.
Yes.
Elsie's like, yes. What?
I'm just trying to hide it. Thank you for watching, and then we will see you in the next video. Thank you very much, guys. Bye bye.
Yes, guys. See you later. Take care.